distinguished guests, visitors, family and friends of the Marine Corps, welcome to the historic, iconic depot at Parris Island. This is where we make Marines. I'll wait for that. You get the snap around, back down there, you get the motivational cases going on. This is the historic, iconic depot. This is ground center for our Honor Marine Corps, and we welcome you here. I'm Brigadier General Williams, and I have this esteemed honor and privilege of being the Commanding General of this legendary post. We welcome you from every corner of America. We know that you come here for this very special ceremony, during which you'll see the graduation of 647 of the Marine Corps' newest Marines up to the eye. It's a really special place. And right now you're experiencing one of those few pleasant days that we call fall, like the 5 days of fall we get here in South Carolina. Now I can tell if you're from Florida or Georgia because you got your blankets out, you got your coats on. But if you're from Michigan or points in the Northeast, you're like, I can't believe it's so nice and comfortable down here. Hey, welcome to the depot. This is a very special place to us. If you give me a couple of minutes, let me let you know why it's so special. This is called the cradle of the Corps. Not only because a countless number of Marines have begun their journey here, this very iconic post, but also because Marines have been here since 1891. It's the second oldest post in the Corps. We were here providing protection for what was Fort William Naval Station. We took over the base in 1905, and we're in our Marine making mission in earnest in 1915. So for over 110 years, we've been making Marines to this post. We celebrate that this year. This is the cradle of the Corps. Parris Island is also a sacred gateway. Every single week, young men and women come across that bridge in a bus. And they get off that bus, and they are warmly greeted by our contractor. Embraced with hugs. When they step on those yellow footprints, they come across with hopes, goals, dreams, ideas, a little bit of fear, trepidation, and a little doubt. But they're greeted by our dedicated cadre of drill instructors, professionals, who take on the sacred mission of 13 weeks of arduous training and transforming them in mind, body, and character to being a United States Marine. That transformational process, by the time they're done here, they are smartly disciplined. They are physically fit. They're imbued with our core values of honor, courage, commitment, a love for our Marine Corps and our great nation. That's sacred to us. We take that very seriously. Parris Island is also not only the headquarters for the recruit depot, but also the Eastern Recruiting Region. You're sitting right out in front of the command headquarters right now. It's called Robert Barrel Hall, named after the 27th of Commandant of the Marine Corps. He was also the commanding general of this depot from 1972 to 1975. It was his innovative idea to bring together the recruit training and the recruiting operations forces together, standing in front of our headquarters. It's a senior leader and advisor for not only the depot, but also the Eastern Recruiting Region, starting to Ball 4 from Queens, New York. 28 years of proven service in combat conflict and crisis, and not only serving as a drill instructor for officers and for enlisted, but also leading the most difficult challenging posts. Representing over the 5,000 Marines, sailors, and civilians of the recruit depot and the Eastern Recruiting Region, ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause. Starting to be Ball 4. Graduation parade. If you allow me to identify as a few special Marines. First of all, how about this band? And we believe the finest in the Corps. This is the Parris Island Band. They are world-class musicians, but don't get it wrong, they're 100% Marine. Every last one of these Marines behind me has stepped on the yellow footprints, they've gone on that 13-week journey, and they've earned the title themselves. They have the Eagle and Anchor. They're responsible for keeping up their musical discipline and musicality, but also their martial discipline. They are martial arts instructed and trained. They keep up their marksmanship, but also the physical fitness and standards. Ladies and gentlemen, they're world-class Marines, but they can also fight. If you don't believe me, check us out afterwards. Today, they led underneath the leadership of Gunner Sergeant Gwynn, the drum master, the ceremonial conductor, Stefan Lagu, and the lead vocalist is Corporal Salubu. Ladies and gentlemen, please round of applause. Direct your attention to the ceremonial color detail. These Marines are made up of the Marines from H&S Battalion, headquarters and service battalion, but really we call them the heart and soul. Marines from the H&S Battalion are responsible to keep up this great treasure that we call the depot. Led today by Sergeant Hope Rainey from Atlanta, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for the ceremonial color detail. About this band, I'm not talking about heart and soul battalion. You will definitely hear our drill instructors before you see them. But the members of our team, you won't get an opportunity to see very often, but I want to recognize are the Marines in the Eastern Recruiting Region. We have the responsibility of finding the best right talent our nation has to offer. East of the Mississippi, from Maine all the way to Puerto Rico, of the over 1,500 recruiters that are out there in your hometowns. They're the first one of impact and they're the first one of pride to a community that may not know us. Sometimes they don't like us and don't trust us. But these young men and women, they are walking billboards. They are walking epitome of who we are as Marines. They go out to hometowns, they go into your home, and they offer opportunity. An opportunity for challenge, an opportunity to be the best versions of themselves. Today's Marines are recognizing the Marines of Officer Program. The Officer Program is not only responsible to find 16,000 young enlisted Marines every year, but over 2,000 young men and women who want to be officers. Ladies and gentlemen, please round of applause for our Marines in the Eastern Recruiting Today's undergraduate coming from Horace, Atlanta. Congratulations, Marine. Round of applause, please. Thank you. I want to introduce to you all today our pro. A pro is a parade reviewing official. And it's my honor to be able to introduce to you Lieutenant Colonel Caleb Eads. Lieutenant Colonel Caleb Eads is a special Marine. He began his Marine Corps journey here at the depot 30 years ago. He's currently serving at the Battalion Council as the Commanding Marine Corps Fellow to the Battalion Council. But just previously, he was the Commanding Officer for Region 7 of the Marine Corps Embassy Security Guard. The Marines are first to fight and protecting embassies all over the world. He was the Commanding Officer for the regions that represented in Africa. He's not only 30 years from 1995 as an enlisted Marine, but he got commissioned 11 years after serving as an enlisted Marine. Now he's serves as a contract officer. He's here serving as a parade reviewing official. Like many of you, he and his wife Annette will also celebrate the graduation of their Marine, their son, who's going to be a Marine today.
Right.
For 30 years of distinguished service, but ladies and gentlemen, please round of applause. Are there any other Marines that are here with us? Actively serving, formally serving, active duty reserve. If you're here and you're willing, please stand up to be recognized. We celebrate 250 years of history, 2.5 centuries of service to our great nation. First to fight, at the tip of the spear, at the point of impact. We don't just make those things up, that's built on the backs of those who won the cause of our great nation here as Marines. Please round of applause for American Marines. Members of the Joint Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force. If you are here, if you're willing, and able to stand up, please stand up to be recognized. I see you. Thank you. The entirety of the Joint Force to make sure that our country stays strong and free. We're thankful for all the great work that you all have done and continue to do. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for Americans. Now, are there any moms and dads, or any aunts and uncles, grandparents, any educators and influencers for today's graduates? If you're here, are you here?
Yeah.
All here, you're excited, aren't you? Hey, real quickly, thank you for raising such fine areas. You set a foundation for these young men who are going to graduate today. We just built on top of what you gave us. Adding on top of that honor, courage, and commitment. On the foundation you laid, thank you. Thank you for trusting us with your greatest treasure. We understand what it means to give your greatest treasure, your son or your daughter, your loved one, to come through the difficult and challenging thing. The Eads family understands giving their greatest treasure. The Force, our own family understand giving that greatest treasure. So we're grateful to you for trusting us and transforming them to the best version of themselves. We also thank you for taking the time to come and support them. I ask you to continue to support them, because although this is the most difficult thing they've done in their lives, this will not be the most difficult thing they do in the Marine Corps. They'll need your continued help and support and prayers along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause to the family members. Really, the reason why we're all here today. If I could ask you to just look over to this pole here and up that pole, see my beautiful bull band. And it's 0 every single day, 8 o'clock in the morning, every day, every base, post, station, and really everywhere in the world there's an American presence, that flag is raised. And the raising of that flag represents who we are and what we represent as Marines. The flag stands for hope, unity, and freedom. So that flag was still there in 1814 in Fort McHenry, when Francis Scott Key was inspired to write a poem about its beauty and majesty when our country was fighting for its very existence. The flag was still there at Iwo Jima, when brave Marines raised on top of MCRDPI, signaling the defeat of a heavily entrenched foe and a turn of the tide of the war in the Pacific. The flag was still there in 9/11, in New York City and the Pentagon, among the rubble and the ash when our country was struck unaware, like cowards who were trying to change and challenge our values. The raising of that flag represents hope. No matter how dire the situation looks at that moment, that when we look arm in arm, there's nothing we can't accomplish. Like the 647 Marines that went on a 13-week journey, when they were knocked down, they got up and they emerged together. The flag represents unity. That for one moment we all stood from different corners of America, different walks of life, all standing to honor and reveal our bold, beautiful banner. Like this band behind me, made up of different instruments coming together to make one beautiful sound. The raising of this flag represents unity. The raising of this flag represents freedom. When our partners, our allies, and all who seek its freedoms and its pleasures, they see that flag, they know that American Marines are going to be first to fight for their rights and their freedom and for opportunity for all. But that freedom is not free. It comes at a cost. It comes at the cost of the men and women who wear the cloth of our nation. The 647 reigning Marines today will now be carrying that cost. You are now invested in that cost. I hope that you never look at our flag the same way again. I hope that you understand that you're now invested as it raised. Your Marine will be bearing that cost. I hope that you enjoyed today's graduation parade. I hope that you get back home safely. And I hope that you all remain Semper Fidelis. God bless you.